How many law enforcement officers do we have in here? Educators? Okay, actually showing you the skills that you have, your interviewing skills, people skills, observation skills, and applying it with just a tad of psychology to determine what child or what adult can go into a movie theater, a church, a school, and commit acts of violence. We're going to profile people and individuals on Facebook. I typed in the word lonely, and I looked on Facebook, but I'm going to profile her because there's no expectation of privacy on Facebook. If anybody has somebody that want me to profile on Facebook, I will display those traits. If you happen to want to leave early, please do, but what I'd like to do, I'd like to give you my card because the organization that I work from, Detective Criminal Profiler Behavioral Analysis with the Fort Wayne Police Department. I'm also associate producer, or Dr. Dre. Okay, I'm associate professor at Indiana Tech University. Indiana Tech, if your university or your organization, police department, has a cold case, they will pay for me room and board. They will fly me down there to work that case and profile for you. Again, this workshop allow you to display the skills that you guys already have. It's nothing new. It's just an incorporation of such. Before I get started, when I sit in workshops, I like to individual talks and they speak and you want to know where their background comes from or how they know about this. So I'm going to give you a little short synopsis on my background. Can everybody hear me? About Stacey Jenkins. I have 20 years in law enforcement. I started in the Fort Wayne Police Department in 1994. My twin brother, Tracy, and I came on at the same time, and I went straight to the Detective Bureau. I was a homicide detective for 9 years, and right after 9/11, Tracy went to the FBI, I joined the U.S. Marshals, and I trained on how to psychological profile individuals. I thought my career was going off great, but what's every police officer have in common? The big D. Big divorce. Police officers have more divorces than anybody in the world, I guarantee you. And I was going through a divorce, and I was missing my daughters. So I left Chicago. So I called the mayor's attorney and asked if he can ask if I can have my job back. But there was an opening as an SRO, a school resource officer. How many school resource officers that we have in here? I loved it. Best job you can ever have. In order to be an SRO, you have to be crisis intervention certified, CIT certified. That's when I fell in love with psychology. That's when I went back to school and got my master's in psychology, and now I'm working on my PhD in forensic psychology. The FBI says disrupt or prevent nearly 150 shootings and violent attacks this year by steering potential gunmen towards mental health and professionals. What do we hear lately in the news? When it comes, especially in, South Carolina, What do we hear? We hear about the flag, we hear about racism, we hear about gun control, but what don't we hear? Mental health. As I told my students, style of teaching is unorthodox. My style of presenting is a little bit unorthodox. But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. I don't mean to downplay the mental health organization, but in my city, the mental health, the psychiatric community is a joke. We got witch doctors and they pop pills. All they want to do is pop pills to kids. Oh, that one's not working. Okay, take this one. Okay, that one's not working. Take this one. We got individuals without regard of human life going in and killing other people, killing your children, killing our children, killing the community's children. These individuals had psychiatric help, had sought counseling. It's not working. Something is not working. Whatever those counselors are doing, whatever medication they're distributing, it's not working. We need to find another alternative means. The individual in South Carolina again, he showed all the psychological precursors, made all the statements, went on social media. Parents even speculated. His best friend even took his gun away from him, but was afraid that he would get charged with theft, and that's why he gave the gun back. Preventing mass shootings through threat assessments and treatment can be conventional tactic. An agency who already have a CIT program implemented within their department. Who has a CIT program in their department? That's it. How many people know don't know what a CIT program is? Okay. Crisis intervention started in Nashville. Basically, law enforcement officers who are trained, they receive, I believe, like close to 40 hours of training. They receive psychological training, and they receive techniques that if an individual is a danger to himself, herself, or others, they have the ability, and it's just like a probable cause for an arrest. They have the ability to take that individual into custody and take them to a psychiatric center for a 24, maybe even 48-hour psychological evaluation. And I think it's a great tool for law enforcement to have. Some agencies even go as far as have given their officers the ability to take a weapon away from the individual if they're a threat to themselves or others and they're being committed. Mass shootings like the rampage in Newton, Connecticut, Washington, D.C. Navy Yard, the Colorado movie theater, and the shooting in Charlotte, South Carolina do not represent the majority of gun violence. If you were an active shooter, which class would you go in? Yeah, the more the better. The higher the impact, the better. And are there any reasons why they do this? No. It's different. It's a psychological. It's different from terrorism. It's totally different from terrorism. Terrorists do it to make a statement for the publicity. Individuals with psychological issues do it because they're in pain. You would kill someone, a stranger. I would take out my gun, blast everyone in here because I'm in that much pain. Many times there are questions whether the shooter had adequate mental health treatment and to prevent it from happening. These individuals do get mental and psychological help. The thing is it adequate? In my opinion, I don't think it's adequate enough. But we had that school resource officers. Let me ask you this, and educators. How many times have you guys had an incident where it was brought to your attention that something disturbing was posted on social media? Raise your hand. Did we act on it? Yeah. We did. Can somebody give me a good story? Yes, sir.
At the high school, I was a high school principal for 5 years, and got a Facebook comment Sunday night. Kid said something about wanting to kill his teacher. We had a new English teacher. She was her second year. Came from Massachusetts, and I work in Jenkins, Nevada, Hawthorne, Nevada. And we called the police immediately. Called the teacher immediately. The police went to the kid's house. He was suspended 10 days, pending expulsion. Suspended immediately, so he wasn't even to come to school the next day. The teacher was notified. She came to school. There were officers at the school when she got there. The kid was expelled. The board expelled this kid. And then we had an assembly, and we had our counselor and the principal. I was not the superintendent, but the principal at the time. He and I went and talked to the kids and put a stop to it. The kid was or he was just joking, you know, just making a flippant comment on Facebook. But if you don't take it seriously, that sends a message to all other kids that this stuff is condoned.
Yeah,
it's
true. And
we came down hard on it.
And it's real. When individuals make statements on Facebook, they're crying for attention. They want attention. And as I said, if it shows something on Facebook, I typed in the word "I'm lonely," and then I searched it here under all my. This is my fake Facebook account. Her name is Nona. She is Russian, and I can't even pronounce her last name, but I invented her. I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. Would anybody in here post something like that? To me, that is saying a lot. That is revealing yourself. It's based on life skills, life observations, and life experiences. What this girl is going through.
You basically want us to comment like on what we getting out of it?
Yes.
Basically, what I get from that first statement, she says, "Once upon a time," which means she's pretty much giving up on the idea of men being faithful. Exactly. That's the first thing.
Who else see that? Exactly. These are skills. You just look into it and make an observation and make a statement. I feel you. I'm too lazy for the sneaks blank. I'll let the blank have my phone. Basically, what she's saying is she's been in a relationship where the man don't trust her. You know, he searched through her phone. She's like, okay, you can search through my phone. Go ahead. You know, she's been in a situation like that. What kind of man does that? I can tell you she has a problem with relationships. They'll tell you these things. All you have to do is observe it and see which ones have these precursors. Even the cold-blooded killers, the ones that they say have that 1,000-yard stare and don't say anything. Oh, they say something. They speak to people. They speak to their friends. They speak to their teachers, counselors. All we have to do is just hone in on it. Can somebody give me an indirect threat? Because we've all seen it. Direct threat, hey man, you're right in front of me. I'm going to kill this. Yeah, I'm going to kill this. I'm going to kill him. Indirect threat, they tell somebody else. Go ahead.
Yeah, if I can't, everyone else can.
Yeah, but the thing is, somebody hears that. Somebody hears that, and it's our obligation. If we hear that indirect threat, even though we didn't hear it from the horse's mouth, we still should act upon it. Verbalizing a violent plan, or even showing a violent plan. My first day as a SRO as a high school, there's this kid, he wore a black trench coat to school all the time, and I always had this green bottle with him, and he walked like this, just like they do when they give a penalty in football. He walked with his feet like that, and it was always, he didn't walk in the middle of the hallway, it was always on the sides. He did that for 4 weeks. I told the principal about it finally, and the principal said, hey, he said, what are you doing? He said, I'm just walking off some exercise. How many have ever had this, say this to themselves, or to an administrator or a teacher? Teachers have said this, we're going to read about this kid one day. How many have said that?
Man gonna be alive.
Yeah.
Right.
That kid gonna be in the papers one day. Yeah. This kid, 3 years ago, I had the same kid. He had a manifesto this big of 300 students who he was going to kill. He had a blueprint. Guess what the blueprint was of?
School.
A school. That's what he was pacing for. Guess whose office had the big S on it and said visit first?
SRO.
No. SRO.
Wow.
Got to take out the weapons first.
I chilled.